but getting snatched by other cons all the time, not my scene.
If you two are done yapping, we got a job to do. Time
Yeah,
to move out.
y'all are done. Yeah.
After putting like over 100 hours into this anime Monster Hunter clone, I don't know how to feel about this game. This is probably the strangest gaming experience of my career. Please make a sequel, Bandai. You owe me after that ending. Like seriously, how are you gonna come back 10 years later with a remaster and still have a most head-scratching ending I've ever seen in a video game? But what makes this game so weird? Well, everything from its gameplay to its story and the fact that it even got a remaster in the first place. 10 years later, out of all the IPs PlayStation has at its disposal, they randomly chose this PS Vita classic. I'm not complaining, it's just nobody really saw that coming. Even the fanfare around this game was kind of weird. For all of the diehard Freedom Wars fans I seen in the comment section saying things like, "We're so back," saying things like, "I still play this video game to this day." Nobody's online. Like, 3 weeks into the game, I could barely find a match, and these days I'm lucky if I can find one online lobby. So nobody bought this game. Where are the freedom fighters at? I thought, what happened to the greater good? See, I had heard a lot of good things about Freedom Wars back in the day. I was playing a lot of anime video games like God Eater and Sword Out Online, and from my understanding, this game had a huge role in both those games. I would hear about these games from these fan bases low key, but I never got to experience it for myself, so I was happy to try the remaster. Did it live up to the expectations? Like I said, I'm not too sure how to feel. It was basically take out this dragon from the game and it's a 10 out of 10. But not getting off topic, here's all the reasons Freedom Wars is the strangest anime video game in existence.
Population 7 billion.
Starting with the plot. The story starts in a distant dystopian future. The population is low as hell, everyone's poor, don't own anything. Wait, why is it starting to sound like real life? Basically, the Illuminati got a chokehold on the world. You're branded a sinner from the moment you're born, and you gotta work off an 100 million year sentence. Or just a million year sentence. Just a little million year sentence, no big deal. So the game starts off with you dead, you got knocked the F out, and you meet this ghost lady called Ares. She's very prophetic. She keeps saying you're gonna change the world or something like that. You wake up with the very anime trope of having lost all your memory, and because you lost your memory, it's your fault and you gain another million year sentence. I don't know how that works. I think you got hoed, but let's move on. So you have this million year sentence you have to work off just for the crown of existing, and it's placed over top of your head for everybody to see, like Death Note when Light got the Ryu guys.
So you're just gonna stand there? That's crazy.
You live in a prison cell and your only companion is your robotic waifu. Is this game ahead of its time? This game gets real cheeky with its social commentary. You don't have the right to do anything in this game, to the point where it's laughable. You can't run for 5 seconds, you don't have the right to remain silent. See what they did there? You don't even have the right to sleep laying down. It gets so ridiculous, you really just can't help but laugh every time you get another 20 years on your sentence. You would think the point of your game is to work off this sentence, but the irony of this whole thing is your sentencing really doesn't even matter to the plot of the game or finishing it or anything like that. It's just a funny gimmick. Weird, I know. But anyway, to work off your prison sentence, you fight these things called abductors, which are robotic monsters that abduct people. I'm honestly not quite sure why, not sure if they explain that. But you end up fighting other panopticons who also have abductors, and you guys are just constantly fighting for resources. Kind of like two countries going at it in war. Like, am I crazy for thinking this is a little too deep for a mobile anime Vita game? Like, I know it's just a PS Vita Weeb game, but I really didn't expect this much social commentary on the human condition in my Weeb anime game. Now, the gameplay is definitely one of the saving graces of Freedom Wars. It's strange, but in a good way. It's unique, a game that doesn't play like any other game. I would say it plays like a mix between Monster Hunter and if Attack on Titan had a baby. You get this real cool mechanic called a thorn, like it attaches to everything. It's on your arm, and you can use it to drag monsters down, to attach to any part of the monster's body, to any wall, floor. You can zip line around the map with it. You can use it to buff, debuff, heal your teammates, apply buffs to yourselves, and a bunch of other random things. In some ways, this game was kind of ahead of its time. It has a lot of mechanics that I'm just now seeing popping up in like modern day Monster Hunter Wilds, like the ability to use a gun and a melee weapon at the same time, the monster's ability to grab you. It was low-key innovative in the Monster Hunter genre, in my opinion at least. You guys can think differently. The playstyle for this game is just really fun. It reminds me of playing a video game in an arcade. It's just simple, dumb fun. By the way, does anybody even remember arcades? But even with the gameplay, there's some weird caveats. For instance, I was chilling by one of my favorite NPCs, Ue. After a mission, I noticed he was dancing around in his Floyd Mayweather stance. So I looked, to my surprise, he's got boxing gloves on, but more specifically gauntlets. And I said, damn, when do I get those? Turns out, I don't. So you're telling me there was a whole ass weapon type in the coding of this video game that they never got out for some reason in the original, and they had a chance to bring it back in the remastered, and they just didn't. Folks were waiting 10 years to use these fists, and they just didn't bring them back when they had an opportunity to. Weird. There were some good design choices, like reworking some of the RNG in these video games and how upgrading weapons worked. For instance, you used to have to wait a while just to upgrade a weapon. You'd have to wait in real time for it to be made, kind of like Warframe. Also, there was RNG and how many modules you could have on your weapon. Modules give you buffs like extra attack power or extra movement speed. There's a bit more to it, but I didn't play the original, so I wouldn't know. Basically, they tuned down the RNG, which was good, but moments after the game came out, they nerfed crit damage all around, which pissed off a good half of the player base. And when you barely have a player base, that just makes things worse, so they gutted the player base right there. And it's just like they took 2 steps forward, but 3 steps back. Like, the original PS Vita had voice chat. The remaster doesn't. Why? Just some strange design choices that came with this game. Like I said, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But what's even weirder than some of those design choices is the OST. Now, the OST in this game is pretty good, just unexpected. The game starts off with epic monster fighting music, generic stuff that you would expect, you know, the stuff that you would hear from an action movie. But once you become a little seasoned, you get the ability to pick your own battle music. Now, I unlocked this feature, clicked on a random song, and went into a mission. Paid it no mind. But it was a couple minutes into the mission when I realized what I was listening to. And you know, it's not bad. There was a strange juxtaposition of me fighting other sinners, just ripping through monster parts, while this, what is this, J-pop? Anime techno music bleeds through the screen. I just had to laugh at the absurdity of it all. At first I thought it was strange, but I've always seen music as a kind of brainwashing. You listen to something over and over, doesn't matter if it's Justin Bieber, if you listen to it over and over again, day after day, you come out the other end liking the song. So after weeks of farming this stupid dragon for a monster part, I didn't know where to farm or what to farm. I found myself humming along to this pop music. It really has a universal appeal. Also, that leads to another point. The lack of a monster encyclopedia in this game, you really notice it. I spent weeks farming for a particular part from a dragon monster in this game, and if it wasn't for the internet and online resources, there's no way in hell I would have known what to do. Even then, it was confusing. I looked up a fan-made glossary for monster parts, and they told me to hunt the corner part of the monster. What the fuck does that mean? So yeah, real scuffed monster hunting design. I don't understand how they figured people would know what to hunt, where to hunt, how. So that was my only issue with the game. Like, hunting that dragon made me so mad, but everything else was fun about this game. But the absolute strangest part of this video game I saved for last, and that's the plot twist in this game. Now, if you actually want to play this game, and I really hope you do, you should skip this part, but I gotta talk about this, because nobody talks about this. So, if you don't want to get spoiled, skip this part. So, for reasons I'm not going to explain, your character dies again, and the Ares, the ghost girl that's been stalking you throughout the series, tries to take you through the casket, which, in my eyes, is a portal to hell. Now, you got me tripping if you think I'm going to follow some white girl into a hell portal, but the game takes me through the casket, and I'm transported into this fiery, burning city that's called Purgatory. I couldn't tell if this place was hell, if it was Earth, or if it was hell on Earth, but that's what it looks like. And she tells you to follow her through this plane where you end up meeting, and I'm not making this up, Anime Satan. His name's Simon, but in my eyes, he's Anime Satan. Like, are y'all following? You can't make this shit up. And surprise, surprise, Anime Satan wants you to destroy an anime version of heaven. In this game, it's called On High, but in my eyes, it's an analogy for heaven. Like, you can't make this shit up, bro. I find it extremely weird that literally no one talks about the plot of this game on the internet. No one in the fandom, nowhere, anywhere is weirded out by this. Anyway, Anime Satan offers you a deal at the end of the game, saying he'll grant you a wish if you do tasks for him. So you're telling me the end game of Freedom Wars is making deals with the devil to get what you want. What? Is this game trying to tell us something? Am I tripping? Am I the only one to notice this? I mean, they were putting Illuminati symbolism in this game before it was even cool. But anyway, that's my impression of Freedom Wars. A very fun, weird-ass video game. So if you do want to get this game, I would definitely say get it on a discount. And I want to end off by saying strange isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm saying this game is strange, but I'm not saying it as a good or a bad thing. It's just a very unique, odd game that's just hella out of pocket. It was a nice breath of fresh air in the current video game economy. But it's definitely a product of its time, and I could definitely see why they wanted to make a sequel. There's a lot of good ideas in here that weren't really realized. And a new one would go hard in 2025, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not sure if it sold enough at the end of the day. What do you guys think? Did any of you guys play Freedom Wars? Did any of this sound strange to you? I'm gonna reiterate, I did enjoy myself. I literally 100%ed this game by accident, so I was having fun, I think. Anyway, let me guys know what you guys think of this game. Is it weird? Did you play it? That's about it. Peace.